that week 2?
Yeah.
He is correct.
Yes!
This is week 2 of the Advent season. Last week we talked about hope. This week it is all about peace. Before we begin, or as we begin, in order to begin, I have a question for you all. And the question is, would you say that you live a rather orderly life? Or are you more a person that surrounds yourself perhaps with disorder? Now, if you're not quite sure what I mean, Ben is going to share a little story about whether he lives a more orderly or disorderly life, okay?
Okay.
All right, share your story with us, Ben.
So this is an example of disorderly. So, and this is a true story. I'm not making this up.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm in person now because where I am, we have...
In school.
Yes, in school, in-person school. And so, we have like our little sections where we can sit. And so, when we go out to lunch, right, you can look through the windows and you see everyone's like little section. They're all like fairly cleaned off, maybe a water bottle here and there. And then as you look down the row and then you come to my station and it's just computers, notebooks, my mouse, my water bottle, a few pencils, maybe my math book, depending what we had last. It's just explosion.
Explosion. And that could describe not only your work area in school, that could describe your backpack often.
Yes.
That could describe the room where you do your homework often.
Yes.
That could describe your bedroom often.
Yes.
That could describe other areas of our house too sometimes.
That can describe my dresser. That can describe...
Yes. So I would say in general, Ben tends to be a little more disorderly than orderly. However, doesn't seem to slow you down, right? You usually have what you need when you need it. So not necessarily a value judgment. You know, some people are just a little more orderly, like everything in its place. Some people are a little more disorderly with stuff all over the place. You know, there are both kinds of people in this world. And after we do our song, we're going to talk a little bit more about in Jesus' time how there were some people who thought things were quite orderly and how they should be. But maybe the system needed a little disorder, needed things to be mixed up a little bit because perhaps the way things were ordered wasn't necessarily great or peaceful for people. To use our theme of the day.
Yeah.
But before we get there, let's sing our Christmas carol. Today, what are we doing today?
We're doing The First Noel.
Okay, so if you know it, sing along at home. If not, you can hum along or just listen.
Yeah.
Here we go. Another one of my favorites. All right, so theme is peace, right? So as we did last week, I want to light our Advent candles. So that's the candle of hope, which we lit last week, and now we're going to light the candle of peace. Oh,
special.
Ben is picking up the candle and lighting it off the candle of hope, which I kind of like. It shows how the light can spread as we share it. So we now have 2 Advent candles lit. And you'll also remember last week we started reading some of Mary's song, right? After the angel tells Mary that she is going to be the mother of Jesus, she's a little freaked out. But then what she sort of learns to accept that God has chosen her for this, she sings this song of praise. So we read a few verses of her song last week, and I want to continue with a few more verses. I'm reading from the Gospel of Luke. This is chapter 1. And today I'm going to read verses 51, 52, and 53. So God has performed mighty deeds with God's arm. God has scattered those who are proud in their inmost thoughts. God has brought down rulers from their thrones, but has lifted up the humble. God has filled the hungry with good things, but has sent the rich away empty. Do you hear some of the disorder in that? And that's actually some of what we've been talking about if you've been following our Sunday school lessons with the Beatitudes. You know, remember we've been talking about how Jesus kind of flips things on its side, right? And God does the same thing too. God has brought down rulers from their thrones, has lifted up the humble. You know, in those days, rulers weren't necessarily very nice people. Rulers didn't necessarily look out for the will of all the people. Rulers didn't necessarily bring peace to everyone. So maybe they need a little mixing up. Maybe they needed a little disorder in order to bring a different kind of order, perhaps even a different kind of peace. You know, Jesus is sometimes called the Prince of Peace. Very interesting, huh? So, it makes me wonder a few things.
Oh, me too.
I wonder, are you comfortable in disorder? Or when things maybe don't go as you expect them to?
I wonder what in our world needs to become disordered so that it might be reordered.
I wonder where chaos in your own life, or disorder, chaos, has paved the way for deeper peace.
I wonder what songs you know that might have the power to make a difference.
We're talking about songs, of course, because what I just read from the Bible, we think Mary probably sung as a praise to God. And music, I don't know. I love Christmas music. That's why we're bringing in the trumpet
And
for our
you
Sunday
wouldn't
school.
let me play certain songs.
Yeah, you should have heard us prior to our filming this lesson, trying to figure out which song we were going to share with you. Ben and I had some differences of opinion.
Drummer Boy is a great song.
We may just need to bring Drummer Boy out
Yes!
next week. Yeah, we may do that. But I love the first Noel. I'm glad we chose that one. Speaking of, let's do just the chorus of First Noel. I'm going to have to show him where that is on his music. We're going to start right here. Noel,
Okay.
Noel, Noel, Noel. All right, so if you don't know the song, that's okay because most of the words are Noel.
Yay!
Here we go. All right. Excellent. And I'm going to take this moment to remind you that if you are making your own Advent wreath at home, perhaps you're coloring some of the candles that maybe your adult has printed out for you, this would be the week to color the candle of peace. And I do hope that you are finding some peace in your life. Sometimes the Christmas season can get a little crazy, but may we also find some peace. So Ben, would you share our closing prayer with us?
I will.
Our peace prayer. We will repeat after Ben.
Gracious One,
Gracious One,
thank you for the promise of peace.
thank you for the promise of peace.
Thank you for your moments
Thank you for your moments
where we feel it deep in our hearts.
where we feel it deep in our hearts.
Teach us to make peace with our words,
Teach us to make peace with our words,
with our hands,
with our hands,
and for our own place and all places.
for our own place and all places.
Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you for being with us on this second Sunday of Advent, and we hope you'll join us again next week. Spoiler alert, it's the week of joy next week.
Joy.
I don't know if we can do Little Drummer Boy. We might need to do Joy to the World next
True.
week. Little Drummer Boy might have to wait till week 4. We'll say, hey, tune in next week to see what song we choose.
Whoa.
All right. Have a good week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.